Welcome back. Today we are taking a look at how to add and manage events on your Studio website. So to work with your events calendar, you're going to log into Studio, click on Structure, and then click on the Events section. Here you can view all your upcoming events that you have listed for your church. In my case, I have our demo site pulled up with some pre-propagated events. And you can see what this looks like. @/events, you can see all of the upcoming events. Users can change their display mode so they can see them in a list or in a grid or on a calendar, see what's coming up. Now, you can also feature events on your homepage and on other pages of your site by adding a featured events block. And we also offer a Planning Center calendar integration if you're using Planning Center for your events. With all that said, let's dive into some quick instruction about how to add an event to your website, how to publish an event, and some basic information about recurring events and other more advanced features. So to add an event, if you've watched our previous videos, this is going to look pretty familiar. You go to all events, you click the plus button, and here you've got your event editor. So let's call this sample event title. The slug, as always, is going to be the URL version of that event title. So if you click this generate button here, it will just fill it in for you. Optionally, you can add an event category. This is really helpful if you have a lot of events and you want people to be able to filter, or if you want to feature events from a certain category on a page. For example, all upcoming youth group events on a youth page, something like that. So you can categorize your events. You can choose an existing category, or you can click create and a new screen will pop up to add a new category right from where you are. So let's clear that out. We won't use a category in this event. Then we've got the date. Now there's a lot going on here, but it's not as complicated as it looks. So let's assume that we are creating an event for next Sunday and we want it to start and end 12:45 and 1:45. Now this time field is a little bit misleading. The software does require us to put this on there, but your event will actually show all the way through the end of the day on the 28th. So at midnight on the 28th, it will automatically fall off the website. These time fields don't actually matter, but just set them to any values that you want. If you do want to show a time for your users and your visitors, you can set one right here. This is kind of a user-friendly version. So we could say, for example, 6 to 8 p.m. or after first service at 11:15. This just lets you use human readable text to show exactly when the event is happening. Now, we can also repeat the event. So there are all sorts of options here. We can select the event to repeat daily until a certain time, or yearly, monthly, or any sort of custom configuration that we want. So we could say this is going to recur every day until let's say until August 3rd, 2026. Or we can say this will end after a certain number of recurrences, right? So if you do create a recurring event, you only have one event in this list. This is where you come to edit it, set the description, set the page content, everything like that. But it will show up multiple copies of itself in this list. So only one event to manage, but it will show up multiple times on the front end. Then we have the SEO description. This shows up on the event card in card mode for some of the themes, as well as in your search results. So you could say, join us for our second annual all church picnic, something like that. Just a short description, 1 or 2 sentences, so that if someone does search for your site, this shows up as a result and gets you a little bit of SEO boost. Finally, we have your event content, which if you haven't yet, go back and watch our video on editing page content in Studio. This is going to look very similar and behave very similarly to that. But suffice to say, you can add just about anything you want in here, and you can build out your whole event page if you're doing something complicated like a VBS or an Easter service or an event that requires registration. You can add anything in here that you'd like. The promo image will show up on the event card as well as in the background of the header on the event page. You can set a location if you have one. So you can say at the church, for example, and then put a link into Google Maps, or you can put a specific address here. Let's just use my church. So you can set the location of the event. And then optionally, if you are using a registration form, you can set this to an offsite form, say something like Eventbrite, Or if you're using our forms to collect registrations, you can select it to link to another page on your site. And you can see once we publish and we click through here, here's your single event page. So there's your background image, your details, your registration link shows up here if you have one set, and then any content that you have set also shows up here. So that's how you add and manage events on your studio website. As always, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact our support team, support@miraagency.com. We are here to serve, and we would love to help you.